What do you expect from Ryan Taylor?
Well, Ryan had a great high school career. I think, obviously, Mark, you know that. But he's got the ability to run the football, and he's got the ability to play receiver. We're going to start him at receiver and teach him that aspect first. From a technical standpoint, it's a little tougher to learn. But he's also a guy that, if we have some depth issues at running back, can bounce over and play there too. I think everybody's got it in the States excited about Ryan, and they should be. But also, you got to realize that these freshmen, they're 18 years old, and they're going to go out in front and play in front of 60,000 plus the first game, and it's going to be like that every time. So I think our expectations got to be realistic, but at the same time, if they're the most talented guys, we got to take those bumps that come.
How do you keep it from being a quarterback controversy and just make it a quarterback competition like you've been saying it is?
Well, I think it starts with the demeanor, how Coach Stoops and I handle it, really, and I think they're good people. I don't think any of those guys are jealous by nature. I think they're really good, solid human beings, and it's something we talk about. Jim, we talk about it we talked about this morning when we met. Just talked about, hey, this is going to be about we, not about me. This is how the reps are going to be distributed. Everybody's going to get an opportunity to prove himself, and the most productive guy will win.
Can you go through each quarterback and talk about what their one particular strength is? I mean, there's one thing about each that you really like.
Yeah, Maxwell, I think he has the potential to be really accurate with the football, and he's been productive when he's been healthy. Now he hasn't been healthy, a whole lot, which is an issue, but he's been productive and he's accurate with the football, and he's done it against good people. When you talk about Patrick, he's got a strong arm. He's a big kid that runs better than most people think, and he's got a big-time arm talent. Talk about Jalen, he's a playmaker. One of the better athletes we have on our football team, and he makes plays. And another thing I like about Jalen is he got thrown to the fire, and he didn't shun away. And even though the end results didn't show it, he got better as it went on last year. And then Reese has no fear. Reese Phillips, he went out and, by far the biggest crowd he's ever had to perform in front of in spring game, and performed admirably.
Coach Jordan Mallor, coming along pretty well out of Boyle County, out of your stomping grounds over there.
Yeah. I like Jordan. He's coming along well. I think really surprised Vince and I both during spring. He's had a rough career here. Really, he's kind of been in and out of the doghouse. And really didn't know what to expect during the spring. He did a good job changing his body, and he was probably as productive as anybody at that position. Now he's got to carry that up through fall camp. We've got a little bit more competition at that position with Anthony and Kendrick coming back, but pleased with his progress so far.
You said a couple times over the summer you may move some guys around on the offensive line. As far as what you and John want to do you want to make a decision pretty early so you can have 5 set guys, or will you continue all through camp to experiment with guys?
Well, John, we're going to have to experiment some just because we like depth. At right tackle, Jordan Swindle, we'll start him at right tackle when we get going this afternoon. But he'll also have to get some left tackle reps as we proceed, because he may have to be the backup at left tackle also. Kevin Mitchell's a guy that's going to have to be a swing guy at right guard and right tackle. Zach West is a kid that's played left guard last year. Started I think every game if I'm not mistaken. We've got to get him some left guard and center reps. So just through some lack of numbers at certain positions, we're going to have to double train some guys.
Neal, as I asked Coach Stoops about the situation, you're very, very tight. Deep at tight end. Mm-hmm. And what are your plans for that position in terms of what you intend to do with that depth?
Well, I think we've got a lot of numbers. We've got some guys that have played some experience, that have some experience at that position, no question. I think how we use them depends on their skill set. Are some of the bigger kids, are they going to be able to stand up and do what we want as slot receivers? Are some of the guys that are maybe a little slighter, are they going to be able to do what we want to with their hand down? And I think we'll also use them in the backfield some. Well, we've got to figure out lining, and y'all heard me say this in it, so you may be tired of hearing. What we've got to do, we had 15 practices in the spring, got a couple weeks here early in camp. We've got to figure out who we are, who our best 11 are, and then who our next best 5 or 6 are at the skill positions. And and then form what we're going to be around those people, their strengths.
You know, you've seen it before, this fan base, they want to be excited, and they can be excited by a high-powered offense. Do you feel kind of a sense of responsibility in that regard?
Oh, I mean, that's what they're paying me to do, if that's what you're asking. They, yeah, we're, and this will get redundant, but what we've got to do is, and when I talk to our guys, when I talk to them for the first time as a unit here later this afternoon, we're going to coach them with the expectations they're going to be great. All right, that's how we're going to handle them on a day-to-day basis, is we want to be a great offense. And are we there? Are we going to be there this afternoon? Probably not. You know, when will it happen? I don't know. I tell them it's not if, it's when. And, you know, we want to be exciting. We want to be high tempo. We want to put a product out there that, and you heard Coach Stoops, who probably said blue collar in here. We want to, I feel like this is a blue collar state from east to west. We want to put a product out there that resembles the people in the state. We want to play it with a high tempo, and we want to be physical, and we want to get after people.
What are the per-game goals? Plays, yards?
Yeah, that's you know, not necessarily yards. When you talk about, we've got some goals, and I think the goals are that give you an opportunity to win the game. Doesn't mean you're going to, but I think it gives you an opportunity. We want to be at 75 plus snaps. We want to be 48% or better on third downs. We like being 50% or higher on first downs, which means a good play is 4 yards. So those are some of the games, and we've got some red zone goals also. But that's how we, I guess that's how we judge our guys from week to week. Like I said, it doesn't mean if we meet every one of them that we're going to be successful because there's a chance. And probably the number one thing is we always talk about. I guess the two most important, I should have led with these, is we want to win the turnover margin, which I think is going to be huge for us this year, and we've got to figure out a way to make more explosive plays than the other team.
Neal, what are your expectations for the returning wide receivers, guys that are going into this system that didn't get a chance to catch the ball right after the backfield?
Well, I'm excited to see them this afternoon. I'm excited to see how much improvement there is from when we finished the spring game till now, because I think they're all self-driven people. You know, they're especially AJ the Gree and DeMarco had such a success, and those guys can see the success we had at Tech throwing the football, and they can see what we did in the spring. So we need those guys to come along. I don't think there's any way to dodge that or anything. We need those guys to come on and be players for us. A lot of the growth that we make at wideout is going to be, that's going to depend on how we do as an offense. And and I go back to this. I'm really looking forward to it. And Tommy Maynard and I've talked about this extensively, because it's not many times you go into a situation where you got so much youth at wideout, and really it's a blank canvas. We've got our opportunity to really mold these guys and develop them. Is it going to be? Do you want to pull out your hair at some point? Yes, no question. There's going to be some growing pains, but also it's going to be a fun time and a really teaching time.
Was there some kind of formula or something in play? Because you said 48% third down versus just round off to 50.
That there's a couple stat websites and stuff that we just kind of went back on that. Nothing real exciting.
Are you completely opposed to playing more than one quarterback in a game? What's your stance on that? And does that stance change when you look at your options right now?
No, I don't think you ever have a closed mind about anything. I think it's always better. I think if you have one clear-cut guy that goes out and wins the job. But if there's no separation, I think that you've seen it in the past. Coach Spurrier does it a lot. I think where they've used multiple quarterbacks. I think there's scenarios where that can be successful.
That's time for a couple more.
Do you expect the kids working in the summer, the quarterbacks, to be that much better than they were in the spring?
Well, I think they'll be improved, Alan. Yeah, there's no question. You're talking about a 3 to 4 month period, and they know what to expect now from a fundamental standpoint. We give them a lot of teaching tools. We can't teach them ourselves. We got them a lot of teaching tools video-wise. And I think there's going to be a lot said for when we come out this week, who's had the most improvement. That may mean it's a little bit more important to that person.
Talked about wanting to be up-tempo and also to reflect the people of the state.
Mm-hmm.
There's I think a perception that blue collar is running the football and not passing. Do you think up-tempo can be blue collar?
Yeah, I think there's no question. If we're playing more plays, that means we're working harder. If we're running 85, the other one's running 65, we're getting a little bit more effort. No, I think we're gonna, running the football is always gonna be a part of what we do. There's no question, it's important, especially in this league. We've got to be able to establish it. And especially kind of where we're at as a unit right now, we're going to depend on some play action passes for some big plays.
All right, thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you all.
You guys could